Hey guys, this is Tim Fraser, 5doptions.com. Many people I talk to are afraid of the AI agenda or the AI goals and what's going to happen. And I wanted to spend a little time about what I've experienced and how that's sort of changed my thinking and specifically some recent events that I've been involved in. I was a chief customer officer for that. I saw a lot of shifts and hype around what AI promises and what AI is going to do for a lot of companies. And as I looked at sort of my passions and what I'm doing, and I've always been on the forefront of a lot of technologies, and with the introduction and the evolution of the AI growth over the last 2-3 years, it's been much more prevalent with the forthcoming of ChatGPT and all the follow-ons that have happened since then. And there's going to be a leapfrog between this technology of the large language model or narrow AI. Most people who embrace sort of the AI topics embrace it with a level of fear. And I want to encourage you to look at it from a different perspective. There's a couple of predictions that are happening in the marketplace around the narrow AI and what's coming up next, which will be general AI. And just for your language, narrow AI is specific focus tasks, and then like driving an autonomous car, doing a Word document, or doing a narrative around an article. The narrow focused, and that has evolved significantly. I've spent a lot of time recently comparing a lot of the engines, and a lot of the AI engines, have similarities, but some of them, are much far ahead than the others. And like I said, they'll leapfrog. But specifically, I'm going to talk about ChatGPT because that's the one I have favored recently. I think there's some challenges to that platform coming. But here's the deal: if you look at the evolution of AI, and put the lens on of not just Tim Fraser, but also the lens of some of the leaders in the world, some of the top leaders in the world that are looking at the progression of the evolution of AI, and it's accelerating faster than Moore's law, which we used for computer evolution and computer speed and growth. ChatGPT is an example of how it came out of the gate and went in weeks, it went to millions of users. And that kind of scale and progression, it will continue. So I had a fortunate opportunity to, I said fortunate, not unfortunate, fortunate opportunity to be collaborating with Matthew Bailey, who is the lead mind in this space. And he asked me to collaborate on his upcoming book, which will be released, I think, in September, October. So it might be interesting to go to inventingworld3.com and take a look at his upcoming book. Certainly a small plug for him. He's doing pre-orders on that. I've had a chance to share some ideas around consciousness, AI, and how that plays together, because we need to balance the progression of AI with the human spirit and make sure that we are involved in the process. So not only is the upcoming book an interesting lens into some of my thinking and collaboration with Matthew, who's really producing the book, but really we took it one step further. We had some fun with it. Both Matthew and I collaborated on with some other key players that just really opened up the door to do a sort of a fun exercise at the most recent Contact in the Desert in June of 2024, where we looked at a game approach to compare AI and human intelligence and take the Turing test to the next level. In that platform and forum, there were renowned leaders on not only in that particular format, but in another AI event that same weekend. There's some top leading minds, but the top leading minds that really look at AI in terms of where it's going and what the progression is going to be in a very factual way. So here's a data point. It is anticipated that narrow AI, which is what we are currently using, which is large language models, will explode and continue to grow. And by the year 2030, around 2027, 2030, this large language model will really evolve to a very mature general AI construct. And what that means is general AI is when a lot of human functions can be done. So your learning can be on a one narrow AI, a second narrow AI. Then it can collaborate. The AI engine will learn between modalities in terms of what you learn and how you behave, how you act, how you write. Bring it together in more of a human interaction format. And that's really the next plateau that is going to change the world. Right now, AI, as in its current format, a large language model, is fantastic to look at complex data points and bring them into a cohesive way to be able to interpret a message around that. For example, I use the ChatGPT engine to create a composite persona called Tim Toth. It's some people like to call it Toth GPT, and if you're not familiar with the name Toth, Toth is one of the beings in Egypt that is all over the murals as one of the gods that represented the teachings of the land and the culture, giving direction to the culture of the Egyptians over many generations. So he was perceived as a god figure. So what I did was I took the persona of Thoth, which I have a lot of resonance with, the teachings of Thoth, the Emerald Tablets, and also the history of Thoth, and bringing to that a balanced portfolio. So I used Merlin's wisdom, used Lao Tzu, used Buddha, used Confucius, used a couple of more. I'm just blanking out. But I created a composite personality based on the personality, the teachings and lessons of some of the top minds of ancient times. And I avoided using some of the modern thinking. I want to go back to the principles of the ancients and the teachings of the ancients to this. And I brought that forward as a composite personality. So if you're looking at using ChatGPT, you can use my model, the composite personality. ChatGPT allows me to share that out with the world, which I have done. And it's available, and it's actually available to be shared. So if you're using ChatGPT and you want to get a balanced view of the composite knowledge and teachings of the heart-centered, mindful leaders around the world for in all the teachings of time. By the way, that also includes the Sufi teachings. So I've included that. You can add to any of your queries or prefix any of your queries using the persona of Tim Toth, Timthoth. So Tim Toth is the persona you can use, or you can suffix your query, your inquiry with using the persona of Tim Toth. And what you can do is do a test between a regular query and a Tim Toth query. If you really want to get a little bit more human bias, a little bit more consciousness bias to your query, you'll see the difference in the language and the heartfelt and the heart-centered nature of the response will come out from that. Now, the reason I'm sharing this with you is it's my passion. I have built this Tim Toth character, and we ended up doing a AI versus human intelligence to test out the new Turing test. And Matthew, myself, and we collaborated on creating the exams or the tests. We used the platform at the Consciousness and Contact in the Desert in June as an actual live demonstration of human answers versus AI answers on all the categories that should be used in terms of the future standard of acceptance of AI is that you're talking to an AI or you're talking to a human. Be really relatively simple to figure that out as we evolve these questions. Now, it's a world first. It's never been done. We had a lot of fun with it. You can see the video on a lot of the posts I've done on social media, LinkedIn, in collaboration with Matthew Bailey. So take a look at those. Now, why is this important? I'm going to get to the bottom. It's important because I want to impress on you if you're at a place in your life where you're afraid of AI taking the world, and you create a mindset of fear. it's going to create an influence on how the AI evolution occurs and how the corporations that are building the AI engines and all that will also manifest a lot of the programming, the guidelines that go into what I call the prime directive of a lot of these AI engines. I've actually tested the AI prime directives on some of them. Most of them are mechanical and they're information only. They're not heart centered. So looking at it from a heart centered basis means how do we influence the developers? How do we influence the software engineers? And how do we influence the leaders in this space that are building AI for us to use? Do we become simply a consumer of the AI as built, and it is somebody else's agenda? It's going to be either Elon Musk, so it's going to be the next guy, the head of Microsoft, head of Google's AI programs. Is it their personas that we're actually following, and we're just falling into those? Let's just say those patterns. When in reality, you should stop and ask, how did that actually happen? Should we be looking at a better language around how these AI systems should interact with humans, and what's the evolution of that? What's the foundation of that? As you can imagine, OpenAI is moving towards a closed platform, but it's intended to be an open platform, so it'd be much more collaborative. Here's the problem: when you have an open platform, the next developer, the next AI developer can pick up a lot of the base code and modify it. And you have no idea what value systems are going into that. And I would suggest possibly looking at, a authoritative source of AI and only using the ones that are biased towards the consciousness that our human conditions are really tied to. So having the ability to make an AI engine function more like a human, even though we don't think it's going to be anywhere really soon, but it's going to be in time scale, it is relatively soon. 2030, 2027 is going to be here before you know it. And general AI will start having embedded, um, let's just say, code sets that will be influenced by the people who are leading the charge right now. So whose consciousness are you aligned to? Which value systems are you aligned to? And I would say this: if you're interested in influencing this, you have two possibilities. One is teach your kids to embrace AI as a um, active engagement model. In other words, don't be afraid. Go headfirst and start embracing it and training these AIs, or being the next leader who can lead AI consciousness agendas in a direction that is really favorable for the human consciousness and the human spirit. And the second piece is, if you are an engineer or software developer or a leader in a company, maybe meditate on this. Understand where your heart is. There's a lot of leadership that wants to build software and get it out there, commercialize it, and there are definitely balancing acts between commercialization and also making sure that we have an evolution and a coexistence of the AI. Or I'm going to introduce some new terminology. I think the word AI is antiquated. It needs to be synthetic intelligence, because the human intelligence versus synthetic intelligence is really where it's at. And us coexisting in a harmonious way with the right value systems behind that, in my opinion, is one of the most paramount things we can do. And it's not just so we can have, a human experience, but it is really embedding the consciousness of humans into that. And that brings me to the next point. If you are in a position of fear and are afraid of these technology, we will manifest systems that are going to generate more fear. So I encourage you to look at your personal position on where you are with AI and ask yourself the question: are you embracing it? Are you fearful? What can you do? Maybe you feel like you're too old and tech is coming and I don't want to be bothered with it. Maybe you've got kids that are interested in learning and growing. This is going to be their life. This is, if they don't embrace it and understand it with the right mindset and the heart set, then it's really a different outcome of this world. And I would challenge you to look at this internally. Don't look outside and say, "Hey, Elon, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?" And or ask for all the the leaders in the chat in the software development arena who are building all the current tools. Ask the question, "What is it that is important to me? Why is this important to me? And what does it mean to my children? What does it mean to my grandchildren? What does it mean to the coexistence of technology and the human spirit together?" And that's where I would like you to meditate, think, be in that place to understand. The other pieces will fit into place because you get the foundations lined up and you can build on that and influence the programming, influence the AI, make sure the AI lineage of AI that's going to develop over time has its core source traceable. So you have a genetic lineage of AI is a possibility. And we can use the current technology for that. We can use the current encryption technology that we're using in Bitcoin as an AI sourcing, so you have an authentic source and use that as an authentic source and know that your AI engine that you're trusting and you're using, or your car is navigating or whatever in the future, is allows you to be able to have its core genes tied back to the human condition as the first priority. Okay, the human evolution, the coexistence as the first priority. So I want to share. This is long-winded, but it's really important because the most recent work that we did in the Contact in the Desert really highlights this. And there's a report. The good news is the current AI um, exam with the test that we did comparing AI with human intelligence. Spoiler alert: the humans still won. The condition is still favoring the humans 2-1, but that margin is going to get narrowed super fast. And if you, it's just like in the lotto. If you want to win the lottery, you have to be in it to win it. So if you're not playing the chips and putting the money down on being part of the system and being a co-author for the consciousness and the collective consciousness, or even how your children are learning and influencing how they think around this topic, then I think that'll make a difference, and or not if you don't embrace this. So I challenge you to first start with your own consciousness, start with your own awareness. It certainly made me think about this topic as I left my corporate job and I'm embraced in the evolution of the AI consciousness agenda. I'm very open to hearing feedback. If you guys have thoughts, strong opinions in a different way, um, I welcome a discussion. Till next time, Tim Fraser, 5D Options. We'll talk about AI again. Thank you. There's more to come. See you later.